33 years after Chinedu fled the dust for the city, he finally returned. And he didn't just walk back, he staged an event. He drove into the village in a brand new charcoal gray SUV, not the motorcycle he promised Amara, but something far more expensive, more suited to the Lagos elite he'd become. He was wearing an Italian suit, his watch glinting, a man who had successfully rewritten his own history. But the biggest sign of his betrayal was in the passenger seat, Sarah. She was elegant, educated, and clearly not from the village. She was his fiancée, and they had come to conduct the traditional ceremony announcing their marriage. The village reaction was a strange mix. There was genuine pride in Chinedu's success, but underneath it was a deep, guttural fear. My mom, Abeni, told me the atmosphere was heavy, like the air right before the worst thunderstorm. They weren't celebrating, they were waiting for the ground to crack. The village elders, the custodians of tradition and spiritual law, wasted no time. During the evening gathering meant to welcome Chinedu and Sarah, the greetings quickly turned into an intervention. An old man, the most respected spiritual leader of the clan, arose. He didn't look at Chinedu's watch or his expensive shoes. He only looked at his hands. "Chinedu," he said, his voice slow and heavy like a grinding stone, "we rejoice in your prosperity, but the life you are building stands on shaky ground. The oath you made under the Iroko tree was a binding oath before the deities of the earth. The city may forget, but the soil remembers every drop of blood." He spoke with an urgency that chilled Sarah, who sat wide-eyed and confused beside Chinedu. "You must go to Amara. You must perform the ritual to break the covenant. You must pay the spiritual fine and release her spirit, or the land itself will demand payment from your future." But Chinedu just laughed, a dry, hard, city-slicker laugh that felt utterly foreign in that ancient compound. "Break the covenant? Elder, please. That was a game, a joke between children with too much imagination. I am a successful man of God now. I have a degree and a business. We do not believe in such superstitious nonsense anymore." He completely dismissed their fear, treating their warnings like primitive folklore. He saw his success as proof that he was above the village laws, both man-made and spiritual. The warnings continued, but Chinedu shut them down. Then Amara arrived. She didn't storm in crying. She approached quietly, dressed in a simple, fading wrapper, her 33 years of waiting etched onto her face, replacing her youthful beauty with a haunting, weary devotion. The moment she entered, the entire gathering went silent. She walked straight to Chinedu. She looked him in the eye and spoke not in anger, but in devastating, factual calm. She reminded him of the words they spoke, the pressure of their mixed blood, the taste of the oath. "I have kept the contract, Chinedu. I have waited for the groom promised to me. Do not make me break my end of the deal." Chinedu, for the first time, looked uncomfortable. My mom said it was the only time his city arrogance failed him. But instead of acknowledging the covenant's existence, he tried to solve it with money. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a thick wad of local currency. He pressed it into her hand, trying to force it closed. "Amara, please, take this. Start a small business. Move to the next town. Forget this childishness. I wish you well, but my life is here now, with Sarah." He refused to acknowledge the covenant's existence. Amara opened her palm. The money fluttered to the ground, scattered by a sudden, inexplicable gust of cold wind that swept through the room. She looked at the money, then back at Chinedu. "The price of a blood oath is not paid in paper," she said, her voice trembling now, but with resolute, not sorrow. She turned and walked away, leaving the scattered money and the suffocating silence in her wake. That night, Chinedu, sleeping in the comfort of his family house, was shaken awake by the first sign that the spiritual judges had taken his case. He fell into a horrifying dream. He wasn't the successful businessman. He was the primary schoolboy again, standing naked and vulnerable beneath the colossal Iroko tree. The tree's ancient roots were wrapped around him like constricting pythons. Its rough bark was weeping a thick, dark, syrupy liquid that stained the ground. It wasn't sap, it was blood. Then he heard her voice, Amara's whisper, but layered with something ancient and cold, echoing from the wood itself. If I cannot have the life we promised, then no one will have yours. He woke up with a strangled shout, his heart hammering against his ribs, convinced he was choking. He was soaked in sweat, shivering, and the most terrifying detail. There was a sharp, burning, agonizing pain throbbing deep inside his right thumb, the very spot where he had drawn the blood 33 years before. He rationalized it as stress from the village drama. But I learned the truth from my mom. He wasn't just dreaming. He had just received his first official notice from the spirit world. The debt was activated. The nightmare has just begun. What terrors will the Iroko tree inflict next? Find out in Chapter 3. Subscribe to my channel now so you don't miss the next chapter of the IROKO'S debt.